Okay, we are live, and we're just going to get my Amazon thing cranking up here. And so this is a review that I hope to do by the end of the week. Let me get Amazon going here. And there is something blowing around in the air. My allergies are killing me today. You may hear me sneeze. I will mute the mic. All right, we are up and running. So today, we're going to set this thing up, and then I'm going to leave it outside all day, and then we'll see what the battery life is looking like when we're done. And this is the Eufy Security Solo Cam, and I'm going to configure it here with my iPhone. And then if we get everything working, I also have my Echo Show down here somewhere. Yep, it's over there. We'll set that up, and we'll be able to monitor the camera from where I set it up. I'm going to just kind of rest it on top of my wife's garden to start with, because there's a lot of activity there. And so the deal with this is that it has an integrated solar panel that supposedly can top the battery off so that you never have to take it in to charge it. And the amount of what-ifs are substantial with solar, because you need to have it out in the sun for a certain length of time. If the camera's getting triggered a lot, that's going to impact the battery life. So the solar panel doesn't power the camera, it charges the battery. And so I could foresee a number of situations where the camera will need to be brought in to be recharged. But if you have the right set of circumstances, it might do pretty well. So that's what we're going to kind of explore in the video here. I want to say hello to some friends here. Christoph Howard is here, and Patrick Chang is here. Yeah, I'm streaming a little earlier than I usually do because I wanted to get this set up and have it run all day, because I want to see what the battery is going to look like 24 hours from when we get it working. That's kind of the objective here. So let's open it up, and we will see what is in the box. Now, what attracts me to these Eufy products is that they don't have a monthly fee associated with them, but you pay more up front. So this is $200. Ooh, it's pretty big. So this is the camera itself. The good news is it'll rest nicely where I plan to put it. And let's peel off the sticker here. So that's the front, and that's the back, and it looks like you've got your waterproof charging area back here. Does it have an SD card slot? It does not. It's got a sync button and a USB Type-C. And this is going against the instructions, but I am not going to charge it initially because it probably has a little bit of charge on board, and I'm going to use that little bit of charge to get it up and running. This is the solar panel here on the top. And so what I'm going to do with this, it is weatherproof too, by the way. Where I'm going to put this is out in my wife's garden, which gets the best amount of sunlight, but also a lot of activity, because it's going to look at my driveway. And I share the driveway with my neighbors, so I get a lot of traffic coming back and forth. Another neat thing about this, by the way, they sent this to the channel free of charge to review. I should mention that. But they're not paying for this. There's no compensation here beyond the camera. This has a floodlight on it also, so we'll see how well that works in the dark. And it does like night vision and all that kind of stuff too. So there you go. And Patrick has you got the Wise Outdoor Cam like I do. Yes, I don't have the solar panel for that, but yours never goes down below 90. So I guess it's feasible. Yeah, I suppose, what's neat about these cameras is that, they don't record constantly. So the power draw is really only when you've got activity. So when there's activity, it triggers a recording. It sends the recording out over Wi-Fi. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. But beyond that, you don't have much power consumption. So hang on a second, folks. Okay, my wife needed my car key. Richard Tamayo is here. Good vibes to you, my friend. Yeah, so I just want to get this thing set up, and we'll see what happens with it. All right, so we got the camera out. And now we will explore further into the box. What do we have here? This is the instruction stuff. So a privacy sticker. All right, just making some promises there. And you want to, this will keep the thieves away. Just put this sticker on your window. You're all set. All right, so now we have a positioning card. I don't know what that must be for the mount. Okay. So the quick start guide here. Now what I don't get on here, it doesn't look like there's any kind of indicator that the solar is charging. So we'll see what happens when we boot it up. And I have never used the Eufy product before, believe it or not. So I am going to get that going. There's also a mount in here. And this is the mount. In INFT, yes, I love the name there. It is Wi-Fi only. So there's no, on this one, I don't believe there is a base station required. And we have a USB charging cable. And this is the screw-on mount. So what you would do with this mount here, so it has a little swivel kind of thing on it. And then what you do is you screw in this base plate to where you want to put the camera. So you use the screws. I think there's screws that it comes with somewhere. And then all this stuff kind of screws together. But it's a standard tripod mount, so conceivably you could, it's heavy, so if you got to keep that in consideration, but this is a standard tripod hole. Now granted, on a tripod it would be pointing straight up, but you could of course get like a angled whatever. So that's that. All right, so let's get the app out and let's get this thing set up. So I have there's screws in the box too. Add it to my pile of crap on the floor here. What I don't have is a Eufy account, so we're gonna have to set this up. And Mackhorn on Amazon here says, by Anker, I didn't know Eufy was an Anker. Yes, so Eufy they have a couple of different brands. So they have like Nebula for their projectors, and then Eufy is their camera brand. And it's funny because you would think they'd want people to know that this is attached to Anker more succinctly, right? Because it's on the box. Yeah, it says Eufy by Anker here on the box. But you would think like maybe they would want to have like a single brand encompassing all of it, but maybe they had some market research that suggested otherwise. Yes, this will record sound, and this will also has a speaker on the bottom so you can talk to people too. So I think it's got two-way. No base station required, as far as I know. We will find out though. I'm pretty sure these new cameras don't require that. But we will find out momentarily when I get the app installed here. So let's go into the App Store, and let's go to Eufy Security. Let me just turn on my Do Not Disturb here. And I will show you what the app looks like. So here is Eufy Security. I need to do my Face ID thing here. And we'll let that download. And INFT forgot he was using his his alternate account. All right, so I'm going to say yes to the notifications. And I have to set up home management and all this other stuff. So let's go through all this. I just want to get into it. Accept, I don't know what I'm accepting. Now, I don't have an account, so how do I create an account? So let's see here. Forgot password. Oh, sign up. Okay, so we're going to sign up. And I got to pick my country. So give me a second here to put in all my personal information. All right, so I'm going to do my email here. And then I've got to check my email for a code. So let me look at that real quick. Christoph says you can consider the app. Yeah, so the base stations have some advantages because you can put them like by a window, and that you're less dependent on the Wi-Fi range in those cases. Okay, so your verification code is that. Let me go back to the app here. Oh, great. And my phone did not, there it goes, password. Okay, log in. Okay. Oh, I have to click on the link in the email. So let's do that. Now, Eufy is life, by the way. Okay, so now I have done that, and now I can go back to the app. Okay, okay. We'll do that later. Okay, so my home, next, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so now we're going to add a device. So, and what I like about this, it doesn't show my email address at the top, which is great. Okay, so we're going to add a Solo Cam Solar. And I'll add it to my home, and then I'm going to have it do my location. And then I'm going to give it my IoT. So I have an IoT network that I'm going to use. And hopefully it will get that data over to it. Okay, so password. Oh, geez, I forgot my password. Okay, hang on a second. I don't have my Mac in front of me with the password. Let's see. See if I can remember this password for my Wi-Fi. All right, so I'm going to hit the sync button on the back here. So I have to open up the back of this and then hold down the sync button. Okay, so I heard the beep. All right, we will generate a QR code. All right, so now I need to point the camera at this QR code. Use your solo cam to scan the QR code. You will hear 2 beeps. Hit that sync button again. Okay.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
Okay. All right, we're getting there. Now the question is, do I have the right Wi-Fi password for that network? I don't think I do.
Setup was successful.
Oh, okay, good. Never mind, I guess I did have it. All right, you're almost done. Please follow the rest of the steps. So this is going to be backyard at the moment. And so there is no monthly fee with this. So part of the thing is I only like looking at security cameras that have no monthly fee. That's my criteria. That's the only one you'll see me review here on the channel. I screwed up once with the Nest doorbell camera because I was misled on what was free and what wasn't. But hopefully we get it differently here. And this will not work with a NAS. It is not continuously recording. This is a notification security camera, basically. David Langley is here. Hey, we got somebody from Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I haven't been there in a long time, but my wife and I did all 4 islands before we had kids on 4 different trips. It was a great time. We would go like twice a year. And yeah, we'll test all these things out in the review. So today's objective is to get this thing set up. And I'm not having a lot of confidence right now because this, oh, there it goes. All right, so now we have a choice to make here. Let me zoom the camera in a little bit. So as was mentioned, this is essentially like a notification camera. So if you optimize for battery life, you're going to get 20-second clips. And it will also reduce the opportunity to get the same object detected twice. I'm going to go for optimal surveillance. This is a slightly longer clip. And you can also do some customization here too, but we'll look at that in the review. I'm going to go for optimal surveillance initially. and they want you to charge it fully. I'm not going to do this yet, and I'm going to be fair in the review about this. I'm really interested to see how much charge we're going to add to the battery over time here. Okay. And so I'm going to have this in a really good sunlight spot, because it needs to be fully exposed to direct sunlight for at least 2 hours for consistent. I'm going to take a picture of this screenshot here, because that's important. Solar panels, I mean, this is not a very large solar panel, so you're not going to get all that much energy delivered to it. So you want to keep it out of shadows as best you can. Yeah, see? It's like any other solar panel. Like, that's the kind of thing you want to be very mindful of. Even under trees, it's not going to work. And it's got some tips on installation. Yada, yada. We'll look at all that later. Okay. Whoa, feedback. Hang on. All right, firmware's up. This is like the first time ever that we've had, all right, I'm going to do my Face ID to log in. This is the first time ever we've had a device that didn't need a firmware update when I installed it. Okay, so let's go and look into this device real quick here. So, all right. Hey, get off my yard. Hang on. Get off my yard. Get off my yard. It's not incredibly loud. So, you know, it's going to be, I think, loud enough for somebody to hear who's next to it, but it's not going to be like a siren, you know, like a bullhorn. Let's see what we got here. So we can record stuff. So I'm getting a constant feed from the camera right now. This really eats up the battery, by the way. What I'm really interested about is the power level and how to monitor that. Okay, cool. All right, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So right now it's not seeing any sun. So why don't we put this out in the backyard and see how it works. So I will be right back. I don't have a camera outside. Maybe I can do maybe I'll do this camera. Hang on, let's see if I can get this to work. I don't have Wi-Fi. Let me go put this outside, and I will be right back. So I'm going to put the box here so you know so anybody that tunes in knows what's going on. Actually, let me see if I can get the camera to work on this. This might be kind of fun. Let's see, NDI. You know, this will take me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Talk amongst yourselves. And I will get this thing out in the sun, because I want to see if we're going to get, I can still talk. I want to see if it detects the sunlight. So I'm going to open the garage door here. And this thing's going to be exposed in the sun all day. Ooh, and hopefully the Wi-Fi. I'm going to stick the camera there and get a good signal from it. And I've got it pointed at the driveway. So we get a lot of activity on this driveway because there's always stuff getting dropped off here and everything. All right, so let me close the garage door. It is hot out today. All right, so now we're going to come back to home base here. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Okay, so now, oh, you lost the mic. Well, now I'm back. All right, so let me go. over to Eufy security, and let's see if our camera is detectable out there. So now we're going to prepare to play. It's not looking good. Maybe not a Wi-Fi range. So this might require more engineering. We'll see what happens here. Let me do a refresh here. Come on, work, 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 work. And I'm still on the same Wi-Fi as the camera is, so I might just have to point it at a different connection. Yeah, it's not connecting. So let's go and see if, yeah, that's going to be a challenge for this thing is, it still sees it, but it's not connecting. Let's see. Oh, this is cool. So this does give you, it does give you a whole battery dashboard, which is awesome. All right, so that's good. So the problem I think I have is that it's just not picking up the Wi-Fi. And it's not that far away either. Let me kill the app here and reload it and see if that might get it more motivated. All right, let's try this again. Now I also have UPnP disabled on my equipment, so I don't know if that might be an issue. But it could be just out of Wi-Fi range. Yeah, so I have Wi-Fi extenders. I'm connecting to my IoT network instead of my main network, so that's part of what's going on here. So I'm gonna go get it and move it closer to the house. I have another spot I can put it in, so let me see if that might be a better place. So I'm gonna lose you all again. But let me put it in a different spot that's a little closer. But yeah, this is the problem without a base station is that, like with a base station, you can put it out in one spot. But this is good. The thing around later. All right, so now I'm moving closer. And let's see if it picks it up now. But I have a better Wi-Fi I can connect it to, so I'm gonna do that in a second here. And I'm not sure what the process is of switching Wi-Fi on it. But clearly the Wi-Fi range is not great, and that's an issue. Okay, so well so now it's working. It actually saw me coming to get it. So now it's up and running. So I wonder if maybe it was rebooting or something. It is getting a charge also. Let me see if we can move it back to where it was, because now its signal's good. The problem is where it's currently situated, it's going to lose its signal at some point. But it saw me coming to get it in that spot. Yeah, look, here's me coming to get it. See that? All right, I'm going to go put it back over there. I'll be right back. And hang on a second. Let me go get it again and put it back where it was, because that was a much better spot. I know what happened. That. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to put it in a spot where there's a lot of activity, but I don't want to leave it on top of my garbage can. And I also want to put it in a place where there's a lot of activity. So let me look at, I wonder if I can change the location of it. I'll come back down. So if I switch it to my home Wi-Fi network, I can get it to work. So I may do that real quick. So we'll see what, so what happened is, this was a good test because it recorded it locally. So it recorded this locally, and then it uploaded it when it got back to the Wi-Fi. The video quality looks pretty good on it though, doesn't it? So that's what happened there. But let's take a look while we're just messing around here. Let's look at the statistics page and see what we get here. Because obviously the goal here is to get a net positive battery, or at least a break even on the battery. All right, so go back to our settings panel here. Here's our dashboard. Now we don't have any daily trends yet. That's why I want to leave this out for a while before I review it, just to get a feel for it. I also don't have the night vision ability right now because we are. But it is getting sun and it is charging. All good things. And it is 1080p. And Keyboard G says the stuff is encrypted on device and it doesn't leave your home unless you want it to. And Crab Donkey wants to know, does it show the charge level on the phone? Yeah, so it shows us 40% here. It doesn't say what it's getting though. So I don't know if we're net positive, and I'm guessing that we don't get that. Like I would love to see if it, like how much voltage is going in versus going out, and I'm sure it's capturing that data, but it just doesn't make it visible to the user. So we're not going to get like a good idea. Oh, here we are. We got a little bit. So right now, it says we are getting 2 milliamp hours. That doesn't seem like a lot. Or unless this could be our net amount of solar. Or maybe it just reports it over a period of time. Let's see if that number goes up. Okay, so total charging efficiency right now is 2 milliamp hours. That's how much it's put back in. And they say 300 milliamp hours is approximately equal to 2% of the battery power. So this is going to be interesting to kind of track this to see how it works. And it does say it's a 2K camera, which is what, like 1440p? I think it's just slightly above 1080p. And Greg M wants to know how long. Well, that's the problem with one of these things. And this is another question we got also. Like, how long is the battery going to last? It's hard to say because there's a lot. This is just like all the other ones we've looked at. So I've been using, I have Blink cameras out back, and I've got Wise cameras also, the outdoor Wise cameras. And so all of these are dependent on how much activity they get. So the camera, so for example, the camera that I have in front of my garage gets a lot of activity because my driveway is shared with 2 neighbors in the back. So their cars going by often trigger it. We get a lot of packages here, so every time the package comes, we get that. Every time my wife leaves the house or comes back, so all of that activity triggers the camera and it turns off again. So the Wise camera, believe it or not, it does pretty well. I bring it in to charge like every 2 or 3 months. Unfortunately, the battery indicator on it has gone south. So I don't know when it dies until it's dead. The Blink camera, because it doesn't get that much activity, that battery is good for like over a year, believe it or not, before I have to change it. So this one, they say, depending on, this is one of those things where it depends upon, right? if you have it in good sunlight and you don't get all that much notification activity, then conceivably you may never need to bring it in. And I heard from somebody a little earlier in the stream here. Let me pull up his chat. I think it was Patrick. Yeah, so Patrick has a solar panel, a larger one though, attached to his Wise Outdoor Cam, and his battery stays around 90%. So this is kind of a net metering kind of situation where the goal is to put more energy in during the day so that when it switches to battery power at night, you're working off the energy generated by solar. That's kind of the goal. So what I want to see, because I haven't charged it, and I did not charge it on purpose, so we're at 40% right now, and what I'm eager to see is what does this look like tomorrow at this time when we, right? So let me take a screenshot of this, just so I have a record of it. But I like the fact that you get this awesome dashboard. I think this is great. Because if you're a solar energy nerd like me, it's like, I want to know, like, what's my net power gain here? So I want to look at now changing the Wi-Fi, because I really want to put it in that other spot, which is much better, and I think is going to be more fair to the review. So how does one change the Wi-Fi? Video settings, audio settings. I have a feeling I have to like rejigger the whole thing here. Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so I'm going to move it to, I have a 2.4 gigahertz network that's on my Eufy system, and I'm pretty sure that's going to reach out there because I've got an access point, you know, up in the air on the second floor. So we're going to try that. All right, so it looks like I just have to resync it. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. Actually, I'll go get it, and I will move it back to the spot we had it in because I really prefer that spot. So I'm going to go get it real quick and see if that other spot will work better. I may lose you for a second here because it's getting a good amount of sun right now, but the garden is where we get the best sun. So let me hit, and it's, by the way, it's super hot right now too because it's like going to be 90 degrees today. It's going to be 90 degrees today, and it's hotter than you know what. And the sun is like, you know, this is summer sun, so it's like super bright. So it looks like we're repeating the process here. So hold this button down again. So here's the camera. And I got to aim it at the phone again. And this is what gets it programmed to so I have to hold it down for 2 seconds until you hear a beep and the light's flashing blue. Okay. There we go.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
Okay, so now it's going to connect to the Wi-Fi network. And I don't see any way to turn this thing off.
Setup was successful.
Okay, so now it's on the Wi-Fi. Because the problem that I found with how I have my Eufy set up is that if it's on the access point down here, even though it's got the same SSID, it just loses it and doesn't reconnect. A lot of these devices don't roam. And roaming is a function of the client device. And you can set up different rooms. So I haven't explored all of those features yet. We'll probably take a look at that in a minute. And Hash has 2 Eufy Cam 2 Pro cameras. They've been running for 8 months and still have 25% on the battery. And yeah, we'll check out the zones. I'm pretty sure it does zones. I mean, all the cameras do zones. I would be surprised if this one didn't do it. And Dinero Primero is going to get 106. Yeah, it's hot everywhere. Oh my gosh. I think the 8-bit guy was doing was frying an egg and doing retro brighting of his retro hardware. But it's a pretty beefy unit here. It's having trouble connecting, it looks like. And Grayson is here. Welcome. Yeah, we're a little early today. Oh, I have to repeat the whole process now? You know, they can't make this stuff work. It's really aggravating. All right, let's try this again. Solo cam, so I have to basically repeat the whole process now. Okay.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait. Setup was successful.
Okay, so it said setup was successful. And let's see what happens here. But this is my point, like, and all of this stuff, the Wi-Fi is just such a pain to get working on these things. And once you get it working, it's fine, but after that, no. It does not look like the battery is replaceable, although I'm sure you could take it apart and find the replacement battery if you're so inclined, but there doesn't seem to be an easy way to get into this thing. It is an appliance, like many of these things tend to be. Let me check the Amazon chat here and see if anyone's asking questions. Oh yeah, we do have some. Yeah, sorry I missed the Amazon chat. Robin Luker is looking for freebies, but I don't do giveaways. And Meat Face is here. Good to see you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It connected to the first Wi-Fi without a problem, but my other one, it's really kind of, whatting out here. So let me see if, yeah, so now it doesn't see it at all. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't see it. So when you want to switch Wi-Fi networks, like we're trying to do right now, it's basically setting it up from the beginning again. So, and I'm assuming if you do this, you lose all the footage on it, right? We'll see what happens. So let's go back and just repeat the entire process. So the issue was here that it could not connect to my IoT network from where I had placed it. And so that's the issue here. So let's take a look and see if we can get this to function. So what I'm doing right now is I'm scanning, there it goes.
Connecting to the Wi-Fi network. Please wait.
I'm scanning a QR code, and that QR code sends the Wi-Fi instruction to the camera.
Setup
There it goes. Okay. So now, in order to do this, I basically had to take the camera offline and put it back on. So now that I've done that, it's going through that process here where it's kind of spinning its wheels. And the question is, will we have the footage that got recorded on it? And we'll see where we end up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that optimal surveillance again, because I just want to kind of operate this, I think, the way people would want to use it. And we got to go through all this stuff again like we did last time. And they're really trying to educate people on expectations, which is good, because I think it's important that you know what the limitations, oh, there it goes, okay. What the limitations of these things are. Okay, so now we're connected. So I'm going to go run back out to where I was last time and see what happens. But I think this might work better as a, with a base station, even though it doesn't offer that option. And I expect that we might lose the signal again because I need this thing to connect to my upstairs access point. And a lot of times, like, the SSID isn't enough. Okay, does not look like it's seeing it again. We may have to give it a little bit of time. Yeah, so if you have a mesh system, this might be challenging. because a lot of times these things, even though you type in the SSID, it's connecting to something else. Like it connects to the MAC address. But it looks like, actually, it looks like we're good. Okay, I think we're good, because I'm getting an indicator that it is charging it, although that could have been from when I was walking out with it. Let's see. Yep, not connecting. Yeah, I just went out of range of my microphone here. All right, so now it's connecting. And let's see what happens here. Yeah, so the problem with the Wi-Fi cameras is that, at least in my setup, I have these Unify access points, and I've meshed all over the house. So I've got the one that it's definitely in range of is the one that's above my garage. And the problem is that when I synced it up down here, it connected to the one in the basement. So I don't think it knows to roam. It just knows that it went out of range. And there's no way to turn it off. So you can't like force it unless you're out there syncing it. So what I might have to do right now is I might have to go out to the backyard. Oh, it just came back. Let's see. There it goes. Now it's working. Now it's working. Perfect. That is exactly where I wanted it. And so right now it's connected to the access point above the garage, which I know it's got in range. So now we're connected here. Okay, so now, yeah, the audio is dropping out. Yeah, this is not going to be good. So this might work better as a notification camera. Because this is the issue, right? So think about like where you've got to place this one. And I'm looking at my house right now. So you see, if I can zoom in here. So you can't put it under the roof line here because of that shadow. Now, what I could do is put it where my existing Wise camera is. I think we get a better signal there. Or I could maybe put it on the side here. I just don't know how that shadow moves during the day, so I'll have to keep an eye on it. But it's definitely not, and it's not all that far away. I think, let me look on Google Earth and see how far the distance is here. Yeah, so Wi-Fi range is going to be a real issue here. And that's one area with like the Wise cameras. It does have a base station, so you could locate the base station in a spot where it's in between both. Otherwise, you're going to have to get like outdoor Wi-Fi to to make it work. So I'm just going to measure the distance on Google Earth from, and this is like an overhead thing. So I'm wondering if I almost need to go back out and like repair it with the Wi-Fi in the spot that it's in, because I can see this being a real frustration point for people. I mean, it is maintaining a connection here. So let's look at our power manager. Oh, interesting. So another thing that it has on here, it's hard to see, is actually it gives you an indicator as to the strength of the sunlight, I think. So I don't think that's a Wi-Fi indicator. And what's interesting is that it's on top of my garden, which is in a really bright spot. Let me go look at the distance here, because this is not far. My phone works fine in that spot off of that upstairs access point, which leads me to think that it's still like hanging on to the one down here and it hasn't roamed. So let me measure this out by a ruler. Yeah, so it's about 19 meters or 60, it's only 60 feet away. There's no way, and this is on 2.4, it's not on 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So that's That's an issue. Yeah, I would think this would work actually probably better with a thing there. Now, Patrick says with his Wise Cam, he only gets solar in the morning because it's on the east side of the house, but that's been good enough. Yeah, all right, let's take a look here. I mean, it is still getting information back from the camera, so let's go back and look at, let's see if it finds it now. There, now it's streaming again. Yeah, it's kind of an iffy connection is what it seems like. What's interesting is that the Wi-Fi signal strength indicator here has got 3 out of 4 bars. Maybe it just cuts off after a certain length of time. That could be. We'll let it sit there and kind of do its thing. So let's go and look now at that. Let's take a look at general, and let's go over to Power Manager. Where was that? It was in the, oh, it was in the dashboard. That's what we were looking for. So we're getting 9 milliamp hours on the garden, which is like right in the southern portion of the house. And I'm guessing angle here is important. So I'm eager to see how this traverses over the course of the day here. And a lot of the net gain of power is going to depend on what notifications the camera is pushing out throughout the day. Oh, Adam says I can lock it to an with the new Eufy. Oh, I'll try that out. I do have my thing automatically updates. Maybe I'll lock that into that one. Actually, let me take a look at my Eufy control panel and see which one it's connecting to. So let me go over to. But I could see this wireless thing being really frustrating for people. And I think that's why, like Eufy in the past would sell you a base station that you would set up somewhere. They probably were trying to simplify it. All right, let me see if I can pick it out of the list here. I'm thinking it might be this one. Yeah, this has got to be it. So the radio is a 1x1 MIMO. And it's negative 73 dBm. Yeah, this has got to be it. Lock to access point. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock this to the gaming room access point. That's what we call the room above the garage. So that's how we're going to do that. That's a great tip. Thank you, Adam. So now we've got, there we go. Yep, that's exactly it. So it actually just showed up as its proper name, too. So now I've got that locked to the gaming room Wi-Fi. So when I bring it back in for the review part, I'm going to need to make a note of that. Now, the way it works in my yard, and in any yard really, so solar panels need a good angle to the sun. So as the sun comes up, you know, it gets higher in the sky, and then it goes back down. So I suspect that I missed the best window for picking up energy, which is why I'm going to leave it out overnight and just see how it does. And De Niro points out that it doesn't work, though, with the other one. Okay. All right, so let me go over to... And, oh, Meatface says they have an LTE version on this one. Interesting. Yeah, the panel is very small on this thing, so I think that's part of it. All right, so let me go and check out the app here again, and we'll go in and dig into some of the detection settings. So now I've locked it in to my access point out there. Let's take a look and see if our energy generation is improving. It is a little better than it was on the garbage can, right? So it's at 9 milliamp hours. And I don't know if that's a cumulative amount or real time. So that's what we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on. Does that number go up based on the cumulative charge it has collected, or is that the real-time energy coming into the device? But we will see. All right, so video settings. So we have streaming quality, recording quality, and a watermark. Notification, most efficient, full effect. It does not look like there's a zone option yet. Let's see. Our power manager here. Maybe this relies more on the AI stuff. And you see how much of this is focused on power efficiency, right? Oh, here we go, motion detection. Activity zone, that's what we were looking for. So I'm guessing what I could do here, how does this work? Activity zone. Oh, I see, I can add one. So I'm guessing everything in this zone we want to detect motion on. So for example, this is where people come driving in, but I kind of want to leave that in place because I want to look at really how this works. And what if I want to get rid of that one? Edit. There we go. I can just trash it. So you can set up multiple. This is actually kind of nice. So you can set up a multiple zone area. So I have one here and one here. So you can have it look at the driveway and at the garage. Can I exclude a zone though? Or is it only going to show me what I've selected? I guess they're all additive. So you have to select the areas that you want it to detect. And I'm just going to let it go to the basic one there. Let me take some notes here before I get too far off course. Oh, this is interesting too. So human or all motion. I'm going to go for all motion right now just because I want to kind of, because I want to know when a vehicle shows up, right? So this is the Eufy security camera S40. And you have your night vision set up here. So it does a color night vision, which I'm going to experiment with in the evening. I can't do that right now because it's pretty darn sunny out there right now. I'm going to leave streaming quality on auto. Recording quality, I can share the device with other people, family or friends. The status LED is off. Storage, local storage. Oh wow, it's got 8 gigabytes of local storage. But the issue is that I don't think it remembered anything before I switched over. Let's take a look and see if it has any. Yeah, see that? So all the events that it recorded prior to me switching the Wi-Fi, so you lose everything, it looks like, when you switch Wi-Fi. So that's a bummer. But yeah, it seems to be working. You can buy more stuff. And, oh, then these are different modes based on what it's doing. So right now, let's see what I have it set to. Okay, so backyard, the motion is detected, video recording and notification. Okay. Away mode. Oh, and you can have it sound an alarm on the camera if it detects anything. That would be, my neighbors would love that. And this disarm, which turns everything off, and you can schedule it. I have to say, the interface here is really intuitive. Yeah, so I don't know what this number means. I suspect, because it's got a date on it, that this is how much solar energy we have generated so far. So what this tells me, if I'm reading this correctly, that, and I can see why they recommend charging it before you put it out. If I read this correctly, we should be a net positive here because we have charged 9 milliamp hours. It just doesn't tell you how much it's using. So the only way to really know where you stand is by looking at the chart here, which is only going to update once a day. So the big question will be, where are we 24 hours from now? I think is where we're going to end up. No RTSP on this one. And that wouldn't make sense on this camera because it's not, it's designed to run off of a battery. It is water resistant, so it can survive weather. Can the main LEDs be manually turned on while live streaming? I'm assuming you mean the light or just the LED light. I'm not sure. And James Stroud, yeah, actually, I do think it did roam. It just took it a minute to reconfigure itself. So I think it did roam. In fact, I know it did because we had set it up. I know it was connected to this access. This access point is right like over my head, essentially. So I knew that it was working with that initially, and then it switched over. So I think that's what happened there. I'll take a few more questions here. If you're on Amazon, feel free to ask questions. The library seems to be set to July 18th instead of 19th. Let's see. No, it's 19th on there. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it does say the charging is on the 18th. It is a beta feature, they say. So I wonder if maybe they well, no, it wouldn't have. I mean, 18th was yesterday, so I wonder if it's just off on its daily solar production for the last 7 days. Okay, so maybe this isn't real time. So I have no idea how much it's actually getting right now. I wonder if there's like a web-based control panel I can pop into on this thing. Let's see. I doubt it. But like really, if you have like a solar product, like you know, it has to be capturing that data. There's got to be a way to get at it. I want to know. I just want to know. I'm curious. All right, let me see if I can get to. But yeah, I can see the Wi-Fi being a point of frustration. And it's just the nature of how it works. It just doesn't get very far, especially when you're trying to go out of your house with it. And so it's going to be finding that right spot, right? But in looking at my Eufy statistics here, you know, it's kind of like a, I honestly think the connection could be better. It would probably benefit if it had an external antenna that could be connected to it. Which, to be honest, is kind of surprising it doesn't have that. Because that would give you the ability to maybe to direct things a little better. But, I mean, it's adequate enough. My transmit rate, though, is only about 6 megabits per second, which honestly is fine for the amount of bandwidth that it pushes out. But it is a weaker signal. Does it tell you what it's connected to? It does, because you have to tell it what to connect to. But yeah, now it just went up a little bit on the receive end. Still around negative 72. But a lot of these things, so for example, I'm trying to think which one has the antennas. A bunch of them have antennas on them. And it looks like that's what happened here, because when I switched it, it lost all the power. So yeah, in the case of Robin, you know, I just didn't see your chat because I was in the middle of setting things up. So I have to monitor YouTube and Amazon. I just get a lot more chat traffic on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, I'm not able to. I don't work for any of these companies, so this is not like I'm not a customer service agent here. Just doing my best. All right, let's take a look here. So it looks like the connection's stable. What's nice is that my Eufy access point gives me a chart. So this is from the Eufy side. But this gives me a chart as to how reliable the connection has been. So it has not dropped. This is not a signal strength indicator, though. That's over here. So you can see on the signal strength, it's negative 74 dBm. So it's kind of in the lower third of signal strength, which leads me to think the Wi-Fi is not all that powerful on this thing. And so about the white LEDs for color night vision. Some cameras allow for the lights to be. Oh, okay. That's a good question. I will find out whether or not it can do that. Let's see. It does have them on the front. Yeah, so we'll play back the thing here. Oh yeah, there's a button right here. Oh, that's the alarm, never mind. Oh, here's the light button. Lights are turned on, so it looks like you can turn it on and off. And that we'll play with more when we do the full review. But it looks like it's settled down now, so that's good. And I also know that the bear roaming my neighborhood hasn't walked into the garage because the camera would have notified me. So why don't we do a little test here and see if it picks me up, right? So I'm going to go run outside. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so it's not going to push a notification to you, but I'm just going to walk out in front of it and see if it picks me up in front of the garage. Stand by. Okay. I just walked in front of it at a distance, but let's see if it got me. So let's go over to events. Nada, unless it's uploading. It does not have 5 gigahertz bands, only 2.4 on this one. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it did not retain any of the prior ones, but this is one I just set off now. And I kid you not, I actually was getting attacked by a bee when I went out there. So not bad. All right, so you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to transfer this to my phone. Let me download it. And it's downloading from the camera. So it's nice, it doesn't go into their cloud, it lives on the camera. And there's 8 gigabytes, which is a lot. Now what I don't know, here's the other thing, its AI picked up that there was a human. I wonder if it does face recognition. That'll be another thing to check out. So now it's downloaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this to my video system right now. And we'll see what it looks like in like full quality. I look like a total idiot, but because I was kid you not, like a bee came out and started like flying over my head. All right, so I'm going to drop this onto my NAS real quick, and we'll take a look and see what it looks like. So the file is about 20 megabytes, by the way. All right, so that's done. And hang on a second. Okay, so let's go over to my video file here, and we'll just drag it over. Yeah, so I think the biggest hindrance to setting this up is going to be the Wi-Fi, and I'm sure they assume that people would have those issues. And perhaps they assume that people would attach this to the side of their home, but I think an external antenna on this would maybe do a little better. All right, so here is upscaled to 4K. Here's what it looks like. So it's not quite a full 30 frames per second, I don't think, as you saw there's a little bit of the details there, though. And it's picking up a little wind noise. And it recorded for, in this case, about 15 seconds, although it would go up to a minute if there was something happening. So let me get the statistics on the video itself and see what we got on that front. So let me go connect to my NAS here. Actually, I can just do that on my computer here. Do I have VLC installed on here? Actually, this should tell me what it is. Okay, so the resolution, this is important. Video resolution is 2304 by 1296. The frame rate is 14.35. So it's a little better than 1080p, which is why they call this 2K. But the frame rate is only half of 30 frames per second. So that's what you get out of that. All right, what else we got here? How's Meatface doing today over on the Amazon chat? Yeah, man versus bee. I could make my money there. I don't believe it does animal recognition, but I'll find out and see what happens. Get out of the car and yell bees. Is this connected to my garage access point? So this is connected to the access point that is above the garage here. So where it is, if you look, I have those those dormer windows above. So it's coming out of that area above the house there. It's only about 60 meters away. But it's 2.4 gigahertz, which goes, so believe it or not, 5 gigahertz is faster, but 2.4 goes longer. So what I've learned in amateur radio world is that the lower the frequency, the further it travels. So your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi doesn't work. So like on my phone, I barely pick up the 5 out there. But 2.4 reaches very easily there. And if I had a better antenna, that would probably work a little better. But here you go. But the detail is nice on it. And it's a pretty still day, so we're not picking up a lot of stuff going on. And I'll do some other stuff where I go up and talk to it and see what the volume looks like. But I'm just going to leave it out there. I'm curious as to like what kind of charge it picks up during the day. The build quality feels very nice on it. It feels like a very high quality product. Let's go back in to see if we have any updates on our energy generation. So it's still holding at 40%, although my sun indicator, it's got like three out of 4 sun bars. So it is getting more sunlight now than it was before. And it could just be that this doesn't update all that frequently. Let's go back to our dashboard here. Yep, so now we're getting, so this is a cumulative charge amount. And this is, looks like it's only updating periodically. So it's not a real-time look there. So it doesn't look like it supports 30 frames per second. I think it's just going to do 15. But that's fine for a security camera. And Diego says that's good strength for the distance in his opinion. Yeah, I found 2.4 really carries far. Because you don't need, and especially for a camera like this, it's not a lot of bandwidth, so you don't need all that much. But I remember, oh, you wonder what resolution it might do 30 frames per second now. That's a good question. I do remember, so there's a full, here's, by the way, here's your option. Full HD, 1080p. Oh, I see. So this is 2K HEVC. Let me verify that. Yeah, so let me switch it to the other one and see if, do I have VLC on any computer here? Let's take a look. Download VLC. I could switch it to full HD and see if it records at a higher frame rate. All right, so now we're at full HD. And I'll go run in front of it again and see if it see if it gives us a better frame rate. So let's take a look. I'll be right back, and we'll see. Kind of repeat the process here. You know what I'll do too while I'm out here is I'll record something. Okay. So I just did a recording. And let's see how it did. So this is now 1080p. It looks like it's still running at the same frame rate.
This is an audio check. I am testing audio on the camera, and then we'll see what the recording looks like. Bye-bye.
Audio sounds pretty good. All right, so let me download that. And then I'll transfer this back to the NAS and see what it looks like. So now it's downloading. I'm assuming it's downloading direct from the camera. Yeah, it's only 15. But we'll see if it, oh, I mean, as far as this frame rate, yeah, we'll see. I suspect it's still 15. It looks 15 on the phone. But it could be because it was streaming it from the device versus downloading the full file. So we'll see what it looks like now. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so now I'm going to download that file. So let's go over to my phone, and I'm going to send this up to my NAS again. Then I'll pull it back onto my video system. I would say it's probably best, unless there's a significantly better frame rate, I don't think there's going to be a real advantage here to going to a higher bit rate here. Hang on a second, let's get this copied over. Current projects, select, there we go. It's a much smaller file though. This one was only 8.4 megabytes versus 20 or so on the last one. Okay, so now I've got the file. But I have to say I like how this is working. I think this is nice that there's no upselling constantly of buy this, buy that. Like, it's like, here's your camera, dude, make it work. Okay, so let's copy this over to the desktop here, and I'll add it to the mix. Now remember, if you are watching on YouTube, we are up converting to 4K. So it's going to look a little better perhaps than it might otherwise. Okay, so let me turn the audio on, and here we go. Nice socks, right?
This is an audio check. I am testing audio on the camera, and then we'll see what the recording looks like. Bye-bye.
Not bad. All right, frame rate on this, 13.75. Interesting. Get this, resolution, same resolution. So I suspect it's recording at 1080p, but it's like encapsulating it in that same size file. So I don't think there's any advantage to running at the lower resolution. And if anything, you get lower quality if it's going to H.264. I will try to figure out what the format of these videos are in a second here. Let's go back to video settings. We're going to just switch it back to 2K. It looks the same, but I'm on my video system here, so it's going to be hard to figure it out. All right. and we'll figure all this stuff out. And Dinero loves it. This is one of the fun challenges of what I do. It's like, how do I demonstrate all this in real time? Because I record in real time when I do my reviews. I kind of record everything in the same fashion. So it adds a layer of challenge. Like, how do we get from the camera in the yard to the phone to the NAS? And one of the things that I love about my Synology NAS that I use is that it's got this handy app called DS File. And it just uploads. There's like a little app here. You just upload. It attaches to your photo library. It just shoots the files in that way. I guess it'll work with Apple Files also. But that's about it. Yeah, I'm doing okay on my exercise. If you look at my rings here, check it out. I've got my exercise ring almost closed. I set very low expectations for myself, though. So, but yeah, it was a much smaller file, which is interesting because I don't know. Maybe it's a difference in length. Let me look and see here. Let me add it. I'll pull up both, and we'll take a look. Yeah, one file is 8.6 megabytes. The other is 20.6. But one is shorter than the other. So hang on, let's look and see here. So let me go back to my desktop view here. I can't show you this, but I'm just looking on the screen here. So the file that I was getting chased by the bee is the larger of the two, which is also longer. So this one is that one's 14 seconds. The other one is longer and smaller.
This is an audio check. I am testing audio on the
camera.
Huh.
So yeah, so the 1080p is a lot smaller, which surprised me because it says one is supposedly a higher compression format. Yeah, I'm going to grab these. I'm going to throw these into VLC and see what the file format is. But they are both only, though, about 15 frames per second. So that's about, you're not going to see any variation in frame rate if you were looking for that. Let's copy these back over there. Oops. Oh, let me copy those, huh? Control-C. There it goes. OK, so let me go back, load up VLC. Yeah, DS File is great. And you know what's nice is that it works on both Android and iOS, so it's kind of the same experience on both. But yeah, it looks like, I'm guessing there's probably, it's hard to see on the stream the difference in quality. So here, let me pull up, this is the 1080p one. And if you're watching the 4K stream, you might have a better sense of it. That's the 4K one, and this is the 2K one. I mean, it doesn't look all that different. I think when I pull it up on my screen, it'll look different. But that's 2K, that's 1080p. But both file sizes are the same, so I don't know what exactly the difference is. But I'll check with VLC and see what works. Yes, and you can also record live while it's going. So this camera, like the Wyze camera and the Blink cameras, is designed to be weatherproof. And my Wyze camera has been out there now for, how long have I had that thing for? I've had that camera out there for a year and a half. We had a hurricane, or close to a hurricane with it. We've had snowstorms. It's been like, I mean, it's been hit with everything. And it still works. Never had a problem with it. It's been working great. So I think they, as long as you keep there's a back panel where the charging thing is. You got to make sure that's shut and sealed. And if you do that, I think you're fine. All right, let's take a look at our dashboard. OK, so, here's interesting stuff now, folks. Look, we've got another solar update. So now I'm at full sun. See that? So let's take a look at the dashboard now. Oh, look at that. We're up to 50 now. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't even show it to you. So we're up to, let me back out here real quick. So if we look here, we are at full sun. And if we go to the dashboard, we have generated 50 milliamp hours, and that's not all that long. So we'll see how it does out there all day. And then I'll do some recordings at night, and we'll see how it does then. But yeah, I think we're in good shape. All right. Well, I think I am at a point where I am going to let it sit and have it work as it would otherwise naturally work. I don't want to work the streaming too much. I just want to let it kind of act like it would in a normal day-to-day kind of world here. And the real question will be, will we see a maintenance of battery level, or by the time the sun goes down, will we have seen an increase in its charge state? Because we haven't seen it give us anything beyond 40% yet. But I am curious to see. But I like that they give you all this data, and you can check the trends. There's even a 30-day trend on it. So that'll be fun to kind of play out. Now, in the winter, not only do you get less sunlight during the day, but you also have a less intense level of sunlight. So in my experience at my old job with a big solar array that we had on the roof, I think it was April, May, June were the best months for power generation. It's when you hit on the other side of summer is when you start, the Earth's axis starts moving, at least in this hemisphere, starts moving away from the sun. And that little bit of difference is actually measurable. So you generate less into the fall and winter. And then the early spring in April, or late mid-spring in April, is when you start to see the generation rates go back up again. So that's kind of interesting. But this could be a good thing. I kind of like the interface. It's not busy. It doesn't upsell you on anything. It feels very intuitive. Again, this is the first Eufy product that I've looked at, so I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I don't like the Wi-Fi situation. I think that's going to be challenging for people. But so far, so good here. And it is getting a charge out there. And like I said, I purposely did not charge it first because I wanted to see if you just throw it out in the yard and leave it in sun all day, how it does. If someone picks it up and runs off with it, they take it. And they can easily reset it because you saw that reset thing in the back there. I don't think there's any way to lock it. There's a security feature here, but I don't think there's any way to... That's a good question. Can I make it so that nobody else can use it? Because you saw how easy it was for me to just resync it. Push the button down. Yeah, so I think that's going to be your big issue. Interesting. Let's get, so your Eufy goes with 8 gigabytes of eMMC built-in storage. Yes, there's no SD card option. But the problem, and here's, oh, look at that. The battery went up. We're at 41% now. So we actually added charge to the camera to sitting out in the yard. The one issue you're going to run into with this is that because there is no cloud storage that I'm aware of, unless maybe there's an extra service you can add onto it, if they run off with the camera, the evidence goes with them unless you have downloaded the video before it went out of range. Maybe I should start doing some English humor. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Some Yankee in Connecticut doing that, right? Max just installed it and loves it. This is not compatible with other brands. So I have, right now in my house, I have Wise and Blink. So I have separate apps for all those things, right? Those are the, oh, you know what we haven't tried yet is the A-word integration. Let's see here. What's this one? This is the protection plan. Oh, okay. So here's your answer to your question about somebody walking off with it. is there any cloud storage on here? This is like a monitoring thing. They see 20% off home insurance. Where does that, like, is that really going to happen? I should look into that. Yes, I don't think there's any cloud storage option at all on this thing. Yes, our number's up to 50 here. Let's see if we have an update. We're still at 50. But hey, it added power. There's a security setting in the general tab. All right, let's go over there. General. I didn't see that. Wi-Fi, power manager, storage, mounting guide, about device. Am I missing it? Status, Wi-Fi connection, power manager, time settings, storage, mounting guide, about device. Max says, I have a ring for the door and an Arlo on the other side of my house. So I have a Wise doorbell. I was using the Blink doorbell, but I like the Wise one a little better. So I have a Wise doorbell. The reason why I like the Wise better than the Blink is the Wise comes with a door chime, because I couldn't hear, like, people would ring the doorbell, you wouldn't hear it on the Blink, unless you had your phone with you. And then the Blink camera, I've got a Blink camera out back. Yeah, so I have Blink and Wise, and now Eufy. And this is a solar panel camera. So this one has an integrated solar panel. It's actually out in the yard right now, which is why you don't see it here. But it has the integrated solar panel on the top. And so far, it has been charging. So good stuff. All right, well, I think I'm going to let this thing bake out there. Hopefully it doesn't overheat. And I will let you know in an upcoming review how it ends up working for us here. But it looks like, so far so good. It has added charge to the mix, which is kind of what we wanted. So good stuff. All right, well, I'm going to go get some lunch. Tiego's wondering if I had any issues with my shields. I have not, but I purposely waited on the 9.0 original update before I did anything. Yeah, there was security in one of the settings here. Let's see. The other problem with these things, they have so many freaking settings, like you never know where to look for anything. Although this one is a little more easy to manage. Yeah, I just don't see anything for security. Like, there's no way to like lock it in. And its lack of cloud is a benefit to some degree, but also a detriment in that if somebody walks off with the camera and you don't have, so some of the other Eufy cameras had a base station that would live in the house. So that would get the, you know what I mean? It was off the camera, but this one is all just kind of integrated. So I think that's the only issue you might have with it. But yeah, it seems to be doing okay. And Max Timothy has 13 kilowatts of solar power. Yeah, I'm looking into getting solar here, partly because I want to stick it to my power company. I'm so sick of them. So we're going to look at that in a future video too. All right, well, everybody. Oh, here it is. Security's down here. And this is just for, like, there's nothing to like secure the device itself. And the other problem, by the way, so talk about security. So if you look at the mounting hardware, which here it is. So this is what you would normally secure it with. So right now I just have it resting on top of my garden. So it screws into this, but you have to be able to take the camera off in order to charge it. So you would just unscrew it from from here, right? Because you have to make it easy to unhook it to charge it. The one thing that I noticed with so with the with the doorbell cameras, they require some kind of screwdriver to be inserted to pull it off first before you can do it. But in the case of my doorbells, the Wise and the Blink and the Ring, for that matter, all store in the cloud. So the event happens, it transmits. Unless they can rip it off really quickly, it's difficult. But Ring does work well. It does very well at what it does. What I don't like about Ring is I don't like monthly fees. So I only review stuff that doesn't have monthly fees because I think people are looking for that kind of thing. So yeah, so it's good. So I'm happy with it so far. Yeah, the Wi-Fi, I think the Wi-Fi is going to be the biggest thing that trips people up, just because there's a complexity to making sure it's positioned properly. And I think that's where, when you have a base station, you can find that midpoint where the base station can reach the camera, but the base station can also reach the Wi-Fi. And I did that with my Blink camera. So I have like the Blinks have a little base station that they connect to, and so I had put one in the garage inside. It could reach the Wi-Fi fine, and then it could hit the camera outside. So that's going to be the only thing that I think I'm going to remind people about is the Wi-Fi range, and everyone's mileage is going to vary on that one. Yeah, and if somebody walks off with the camera, you lose the footage. So all that kind of stuff are things to consider. But nothing's happened in my yard since I ran out there before. It's been a quiet day so far, but it'll pick up. So my wife and daughter will be back in a little bit. One of the kids, well, she's picking up one child and has the other one with her. And then the neighbors will be running back and forth. So yeah, my neighbor's kid in the back, he's been building his own pickup truck. He had a Toyota pickup truck that he rebuilt from scratch. His father's like, I don't know where he gets it from. And it's like, it looks awesome. He takes the doors off he drives around without the doors on all summer with it. And the other day, every once in a while, you'll see the pickup truck getting towed back into the driveway. So it breaks down occasionally. But the other day, like, there was this other Toyota truck that they were bringing in. So I think he's working on another one now. It's kind of fun. So yeah, so stay tuned, set your notifications, because I am going to be back again before you know it. And I think we're going to do a little more with ham radio this week on a live stream. And we're going to visit ham radio headquarters here in the U.S. later in the week. So I'm excited about that too. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So yeah, this was the Eufy S40 with integrated solar panel. It's out in the backyard, and I will be back before you know it with more. All right, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll be back before you know it. Bye-bye.